Have you ever thought about it? From your very first day in a classroom to your last day on the job, our lives are this incredible, continuous journey. It's all about learning, achieving, and working. And that entire arc, the whole blueprint of our lives, is what we're going to break down right here, right now.
So, here's the big question. How does it all connect? I mean, is there really a thread that runs from learning your ABCs all the way to your retirement party? Well, let's grab that thread and see where it takes us.
You know, everything really does start with how we're first taught to learn. This isn't just about memorizing facts and figures. It's about building the fundamental software, the operating system for how we're going to tackle problems for the rest of our lives.
When you boil it down, there are two big philosophies in the classroom. On one side, you've got this learner-centered idea, where kids are like little scientists actively building their own understanding. And on the other side, you have a more teacher-centered approach, which is all about structure and making every minute of learning count. It's kind of this classic tension, right? Do we learn best by exploring on our own or by being shown the way?
But of course, in the real world, it's not so black and white. The most effective teachers, they're like master chefs. They know how to mix these ingredients perfectly. They know when to step back and let students discover, and when to step in and lead from the front. It's all about tailoring the recipe to the situation.
Okay, so we've talked about the classroom environment, but what about what's going on inside our own heads? It's not just about how we're taught, it's about the internal toolkit we build that's going to help us succeed.
So what gets you out of bed in the morning? We're all powered by two different engines. There's extrinsic motivation, that's the push from the outside world, think grades, trophies, money. Then there's intrinsic motivation, that's the pull from within. It's when you do something just because you absolutely love it. One's about the destination, the other is all about the joy of the ride.
But here's the thing, something kind of sad happens along the way. Research shows that as kids go from elementary to middle school, that natural internal fire, that intrinsic motivation, it starts to dim. As school gets more competitive and all about the grades, it can actually squeeze out the simple love of learning for its own sake.
And this brings us to one of the most game-changing ideas out there. From psychologist Carol Dweck, it's all about your mindset. Do you have a fixed mindset, where you believe your talents are just set in stone? Or do you have a growth mindset, where you believe you can get better at pretty much anything with effort? This one belief, it changes absolutely everything about how you deal with challenges.
As Dweck herself put it, thinking this way isn't just some feel-good platitude. It's a literal tool. It's what shows you the way forward when you fail. It turns a brick wall into a stepping stone.
Now, alongside that growth mindset, you need one other key ingredient: grit. This is so much more than just being smart. Grit is about having the passion and the sheer perseverance to stick with something for the long haul, especially when things get boring or difficult, or you just want to quit.
All right, let's fast forward. We've got our learning blueprint, we've got our internal toolkit. Now we're making that huge leap from the structured world of school to the wild, unpredictable world of work.
So, why is this jump so important? Well, let's just talk about the money for a second. In the US, a college graduate, on average, will earn about $1 million more over their lifetime than someone with just a high school diploma. I mean, wow. That is a life-changing number that really shows you the long-term power of education. But, you know, getting through college isn't always a walk in the park. For a lot of students, it's this incredibly tough balancing act. The data is pretty clear. The more hours you work at a job each week, the more your grades are likely to dip. And for students working full-time jobs, almost half of them say it's hurting their schoolwork. However, and this is a really important however, not all work is created equal. If you can snag an internship, a co-op program, or a part-time job that's actually in your field, well, that's a total game changer. That kind of work isn't a drain, it's a bridge that connects your education directly to your future career.
So, you did it. You landed the job. But here's the catch. The world of work that maybe your parents or grandparents knew, it's gone. The rules of the game have totally changed, and the map looks completely different.
For generations, we were all sold this idea called the career mystique. You know the one, just work hard, be loyal, climb that corporate ladder, and you're guaranteed security, status, and happiness. But for so many of us today, that promise just doesn't hold up anymore. It feels a lot more like a myth.
You can really see this shift over time. The myth was this perfect, straight line always going up. The reality, even back then, was usually a bit messier, with some sidesteps and breaks. But today, the path is all over the place, full of twists and turns, all thanks to a global economy and way less job security.
And it's not just our career paths that have changed. The whole landscape at home has been transformed. With so many dual career couples, those old school traditional roles are being totally rewritten. You've got men taking on way more at home, and women increasingly stepping up as the primary breadwinner.
And all of this leads us to that final stage of our working lives, retirement. Except, it's not just a simple finish line anymore. For a lot of people, it's the beginning of a brand new and pretty complex chapter.
Yeah, you can pretty much forget that old image of getting a gold watch and then spending the rest of your days on a golf course. It just isn't like that anymore. Today, there's no one-size-fits-all path to retirement. People are taking all kinds of different routes.
In fact, researcher Phyllis Moen found several common pathways people are taking. Some people just never stop working in their main career. Others retire and then start a totally new job. Some dive into volunteer work, and some even cycle in and out of the workforce. It's a complete redefinition of what it means to retire.
So, in this new world of retirement, what's the secret to being happy? Well, the research is really clear on this. It boils down to a few key things. Having good health, enough money, staying active, and having a great group of friends and family, those are the keys to a good adjustment. On the flip side, poor health and money worries can make that transition incredibly difficult. So when you pull it all together, when you step back and look at the whole journey, a really clear picture emerges, doesn't it? Our entire life, from that first classroom to our final chapter, is this constant dance between our environment, the mindset we choose to have, and our ability to adapt to whatever life throws at us.
Because at the end of the day, this journey isn't a straight line that just ends. It's a continuous loop of learning, growing, and adapting. So the real question isn't about what you've already learned, it's about what you're going to choose to learn next.